Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is a little compilation of some trips that we've done this past summer, and I thought it would be interesting just to combine them all into one video and let you see some of the things that I've been up to. So first of all, this is a little country park that's on the outskirts of Glasgow, and it was in May, and May, June and July were particularly warm this year, so it was nice just to get out and about and experience these places that, if you're being honest, you can't always guarantee in Scotland that you can visit in the sunshine and in the warmth. So it was really lovely to go and see all the animals enjoying the weather. So as you'll see, we've got the ducks enjoying the duck pond, and you could walk over and just take a look at them behaving naturally. And I have to say, the water does look really murky in this, but at the time it didn't look that colour, but when you're looking back you realise just how muddy it is. But again, they seemed really happy. They were enjoying themselves. And it's always really peaceful just to watch the ducks just take their time, float about, just enjoy a leisurely afternoon. It is really relaxing for them, so because they're relaxed, we relax. So in this country park, they had so many different animals. I haven't been for years, so if I'm being absolutely truthful, it was a lot scaled back to when I'd been in previous years when I was younger, and they had a lot less animals now than they did then, but it was still nice to see them just feeling relaxed and chilling, as you can see in the sunshine. The pigs were loving it, just so relaxed, completely at ease. Sheep were enjoying it too, always eager when someone comes along to see if you've got any food for them. But as per most places, you're warned, do not feed the animals. And when you're told not to feed them, it's quite enjoyable watching them and exactly what they'll go to get themselves some food. And you can see this goat is determined that it's having something to eat. So they're well looked after. It's all open plan. Again, it's a country park, so they're protected. They've got the staff on site to look after them, and they can just wander about quite contentedly. Another little goat just chilling in the sunshine. And some of them were quite vocal, and if they were in the mood for talking to you, you really knew about it. They can be noisy when they want to. But they were just having a nice afternoon. And they had quite a few different breeds of chicken, and that one we christened Rod Stewart because of its crazy hair. Again, they were straight up to you just to check if you had any food. And you can walk about for hours. You can take country walks. As you can see here, the ducks and the birds can do what they want because they've got the luxury of being able to move about. So sometimes they would decide that they were going to visit some of their friends, and they would do so on the path. And it wasn't quite the summer holidays, so there weren't very many children about, but it was nice when you did see some kids in their prams interacting with the animals, and they were quite taken with them. But you can see they've got different lodges, they've got the paths. You can pick a path and you can walk for as long as you want. You can keep taking detours and spend full afternoon if you wished. But then we moved to yearly favourite, which is Edinburgh. So every August I try to go to the Edinburgh Festival for at least a couple of shows, and It was warmer in August, but I definitely started to cool down. But as long as it's dry and it's not absolutely freezing, it's always good fun to visit. So depending on what your plans are and if you're going to shows, where your shows are, you can be in so many different areas of Edinburgh. But each year I feel I get to know it a little bit better, but I'm still discovering new bits. And this is a street that I had possibly walked down before, but if I had, then I'm sure I would have remembered all the brightly coloured shops because it was so striking. And the sky looks a bit ominous there, but it did warm up and it wasn't as cold as it might have looked. But it's just so bright, and it really, you've got that lovely combination in Edinburgh of old history and the historic buildings mixed with the newness of all of the activities that are happening within the festival. And of course, you've got the castle that you can see from so many different points, and it never fails to grab your attention. And there's always at least one person taking a picture when you're near the castle. And in Grassmarket here, you've got Mary's Milk Bar, which is very well known, and it can often be queued right out the door because they make the gelato fresh every day. They have very classic flavours mixed with really unusual flavours, and the combination means that it's always so popular and so good. And this is somewhere that we wanted to try that we'd never been to before, Maison de Moggy, Edinburgh's first cat cafe. So you don't just walk in, you book in and you have an hour with the cats, and you can have your lunch, you can have just drinks if you want, and all of the different breeds of cats that are there, that is their home. So basically you're invited into their home for an hour, you follow their rules, take your shoes off, don't irritate them, don't pick them up, they might jump on you, but they're in control, it's their house, and it's great fun. So obviously we were there around about lunchtime, and for anyone that's a cat lover, you'll know that that's probably peak sleeping time for the cats, so quite a few of them were sound but very relaxed. And you did spot who loved the window. Two of the cats, I think, enjoyed being admired, and that was the Sphinx, who I actually did get a little visit from at one point, and I thought it would be cold, but its skin is really hot to the touch, which I wasn't expecting. But it was quite a nervous little cat, but I'm glad that I actually did get a little visit from it, because that's the kind of cat that most of us probably would never consider owning. But now I know that they're actually way more shy and not as what I presumed, which was they would be quite an intimidating cat. They're not at all. But you can see there's so much for them to do. Again, it's their house, you're visiting. So there's lots of different areas where the cats can choose to sit, sleep, play. And even when it was time for their lunch, they had which I thought was really clever, their bits of chicken were in little mazes and puzzles for them to work out, and they got on pretty well on the whole, and they all had, I'd say, pretty much a fair share of their dinners, so that was really enjoyable. And then back to the festival. So you've always got so much happening. The centre of Edinburgh just becomes an absolute hotbed of activity. You can eat any style of food, any drinks, you name it, it's there. And so many venues, they're all numbered. If you're booked a show, they'll say it might be venue 20, venue 40. What you have to do then is just work out your plan of action for that day and try and make sure that you've booked shows where one venue leads to another. But you can even see on the boards there, that's just one venue, and it's just lists and lists of shows that are on every single day for a month. And then when you go into a venue such as the Gilded Balloon, there might be 2 or 3 shows on per hour, and they're rotating each hour, so it is hectic. But as you can see, the sky can brighten up in a matter of hours. That's Scotland. We have our own weather system that can do snow in the morning, heat wave in the afternoon, so we're used to that. But as you can see, when the sky is blue, I don't think you can beat it. The combination of the architecture on a lovely day with the blue sky is unbeatable. So it's nice just to take a walk about. You don't have to go to the busiest areas, but you can experience it all. This was the National Museum of Scotland, and we went to see an exhibition called Rip It Up, which was basically the history of Scottish modern music. So anything that's been in the charts since the 50s that's Scottish related was in this Rip It Up exhibition, from anything from Simple Minds to Belle and Sebastian, Texas, you name it, Travis, Franz Ferdinand, and they'd all donated some pieces of memorabilia. So they wouldn't let us film inside, but it was great to see some of the items. And now we're in Jenner's, so you saw the outside of Jenner's, and this was for Sarah Haran, who has her own handbag brand. It was formerly VVA, but the brand has evolved and it's always been beautiful, but now it's really hit its stride, and the brand is currently featuring in Jenner's, which is a House of Fraser in Edinburgh, one of the most iconic stores. And Sarah Haran bags are featuring in Jenner's for the month of August. And I know Sarah, and she's a very successful woman who will never blow her own trumpet, but she's already been part of a very big established online company, and now she's doing it again, but this time for her handbag brand. And if you get a chance to look at Sarah Haran's products, or if you're in Edinburgh and you get to see them, please do, because it's lovely to know that there's a brand that's been created by a person who saw a need for a bag that could move from day to night, and it makes you extra proud when you know that person. So well done, Sarah. And finally, I thought you would enjoy our trip to Friendsfest, which they held, I think it was July this year in Glasgow. I think it was in several parts of the UK. And Friendsfest is a chance to visit some of the most popular sets that they've replicated from Friends, and being able to immerse yourself in them and spot some of the most popular props was so much fun. So we made sure we were there for one of the earlier showings. They do it in 30-minute blocks. So it started at, I think, about 11:30 or 12. So we made sure that we were in for one of the first ones. So you'll notice that it's on the quieter side because it did get extremely busy. But before you go in to view the sets, they show you some authentic memorabilia, and it was hilarious. I'm sure you can spot some of them straight away and guess exactly what they are. And they prepped you beforehand, and they made it very clear that you could go in and you could touch everything. When normally when you go in, they say do not touch. In this situation, they asked you to be mindful of each other, but you could go ahead and touch everything. And then they had a mocklet stand, they had Joey's Pizza. It was very good fun. And the first set, you'll obviously recognise it if you're a Friends fan. It was Joey and Chandler's apartment. And everyone was respectful, but they all would run to the most popular parts. I thought it would be interesting to see if there was anything hiding in cupboards or in the fridge. So we very subtly made our way over to the kitchen area. And I also noticed that they'd done a good job replicating the kitchen, the Twinkies, the food. And sure enough, there was some food in the fridge, some Chinese takeaway. And for anyone that's an avid fan, Scary Book in the freezer. That made me laugh. So the attention to detail was really good. It was a nice touch to actually see the pre-digital analog televisions again, and just to absorb yourself in something that you wouldn't normally do. It just seemed too good an opportunity to miss, just to have a little bit of fun and take a little set tour and just see what you could remember about the show. Obviously, you'll know whose apartment this is. This is Monica and Rachel's. Again, everyone runs into the living room. I run to the kitchen. That made me laugh because I've also got that tin, but my tin is not faded. Mine is in much better condition, so it's the first thing I spotted. Lots of little trinkets, lots of little nice touches. Again, I wanted to see what was in the fridge, so we made our way over. And it won't surprise you to know there's a trifle and a sandwich. So leave a comment if you can think of the particular episodes with a trifle and a special sandwich. That really cracked me up too. I don't think anyone else looked in the fridge, so that was just maybe obviously in different set tours, but in our tour I think we're the only ones that had a look at the fridge. A really nice touch are the magazines on the coffee table. They were 1995 editions of magazines, and I would have been 15 then. So if I could have, I would have asked to take them away, because that is exactly the era of the supermodel when we were so influenced. There's Claudia Schiffer. It's Nadia. I've forgotten her surname, not on that one, but on the other one was Nadia. I wish I could remember, but these are the people that we were influenced by. That was an address on one of the magazines, and it was a New York address. So that was 100% somebody's original magazine from New York back in 95. But again, I don't know if other people even glanced at that, but those are the little touches that I really enjoy. And then at the end of each set tour, they would ask us to stand out so we could take an image of it, absolutely pristine. And then finally we had Rossi's apartment. And again, it's all the little details. The keyboard, the dinosaurs, Ben. His CDs though, if I'm being critical, I remember we were looking at the CDs and they weren't actually authentic, and you knew that he wouldn't listen to them, but we're going to forgive them for that. Can't have it all. It was so funny to see the little MIDI hi-fi too. If you're of a certain age, we all had one of those. And again, who remembers the cordless phones? We were so excited when we got a cordless phone, and now you look back and they're so old-fashioned. And then they had a little standalone replica of Central Perk, but you could actually buy coffees within it. Again, because we were there early, it was quiet, but I've got friends that went at different times and they said it was absolutely mobbed, so I'm glad we went when it was quiet. But if you take a little look, they do have the settees and the sofas. And again, all the little attention to detail elements. Unfortunately, these cakes were not real. They looked fantastic. Again, they had cheesecakes. They had, I think it was Janice's Bakery. And sad to say, all plastic. and the cute little till. And then obviously we finish off with the iconic door. And that's just a little insight into some of the things I've been doing this summer. And leave me a comment if you liked it. And I'll see you again soon.